Mike McGarry from the Press of Atlantic City, pressofatlanticcity.com, set to join us now on the Sports Bash Live as the Phillies getting ready to head out west, Mike. And we talked Wednesday about the moves they made, but let's get into how important of a West Coast trip. You have a column called Must Win. How important are these must-win series out west for the Phillies?
I think it's a must 500 trip, Mike. I think at the very least this team needs to go 5-5. You mentioned the column I wrote that's up on pressofac.com. It asks the question, should the Phillies push the panic button? My answer now is not yet. But if they go 3-7 on this road trip and the National League East lead, which is now 6 games, gets down to 4 games or 3 games, then you're going to get a little jittery. But right now, I would characterize myself as concerned about the Phillies, but not panicked. And I think you need to go 5-5 on this trip.
When you say concern, what are the concerning things that might not be fixable or that you are concerned about because they are going to remain problematic?
Well, I think just concern from the angle, right? We've all seen baseball the past couple of years, and we've seen this work against the Phillies and for the Phillies. And it really is a matter of what you're playing like in October, right? When you get to October. The baseball season is funny. Like, it's a marathon, and then you run the marathon, and you finish the marathon, and then it's a series of, 100-meter dashes that you have to win the World Series. And you want to be peaking at the right time, which the Phillies were in 2022, which the Diamondbacks were last year when they upset the Phillies in the National League Championship Series. So my concern for the Phillies would be that maybe they peaked in April and May, and now they're not going to get back to that level, basically, when they need to be at their best in September and October.
Yeah, Mike, at your in your column at pressofatlanticcity.com, you said troubling signs are everywhere. You note their record since the All-Star break, 5 straight series. But part of those troubling signs, aren't they the same troubling signs that have reared their ugly head in the playoffs? The stars slumping at inopportune times?
Yeah, I mean, this team is streaky, right? All baseball teams are streaky. You look at the Yankees, they were just kind of mired in a mess, and everybody in New York is going crazy. Then they go to Boston, win 2 out of 3, come and sweep the Phillies. Three-game series, and everybody's, running around feeling great. The Baltimore Orioles had struggled. The Dodgers have been up and down. All baseball teams are streaky. It just seems like the Phillies are a little bit more streaky than everybody else. And also, I just think it's due to the expanded playoffs, right? Back when you had, just division winners make the playoffs, and you only had to win 1 series to get to the World Series. You didn't face that hot team. You didn't face that number 6 seed, which the Phillies were in 2022, which the Diamondbacks were last year. So I just think the playoff format puts an emphasis on, streakiness and who's playing well at the right moment. So that's the concern. We all know they're going to hit at some point. We all know Bryce Harper is going to pull out of this 1-for-30 slump. The question is, are they going to be able to be hot at the right time? And there are some concerns. I mean, Bryson Stott is a concern. The injuries to the starting pitchers are a concern. So there are definitely some things to be worried about long term.
Yeah, Mike, one of the things, too, 2 teams I want to get your take on that I think really made a nice move at the deadline. One, San Diego, getting the left-hander Tanner Scott, and the other, Arizona, who beat you last year, went out and got A.J. Puck. Then they Josh Bell. That's a team, to me, that's kind of hidden under the radar a little bit this year. They had some injury issues. But those 2 teams, you're going to see Arizona this week. I think the National League upped their game as we, look, the Phillies, the Dodgers, the Braves, and the Brewers all had losing records in the month of July. All of the top 4 teams in the National League had losing records in the month of July. But those wild card teams, I think, have upped their game and has made this National League much more tough to navigate through.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think the depth of the National League all of a sudden is pretty good there. I think the series coming up against Arizona is interesting. Like you mentioned, they go out and get Josh Bell. Now, he replaces Christian Walker, who has an abdominal injury, so he's out of the lineup for a while. And they get A.J. Puck to solidify a bullpen that's kind of gone south a little bit. Paul Sewald, their closer, has been terrible the month of July and probably is going to lose that job. I'm interested in that series against the Diamondbacks Phillies. I think that's a good matchup. I agree with you with the Padres. They've kind of bolstered themselves. And even the Mets went out there and got some relievers. They got Paul Blackburn, that starting pitcher, who's going to throw tonight against the Angels from the Oakland A's. The Pittsburgh Pirates, we can't ignore them. They went out and did some good things. Plus, they've got Paul Skeens, pitching every fifth day for them, every fifth or sixth day. So, yeah, I agree with you. The depth in the National League talent among those wild card teams, and the Braves go out and get Soler and bring in some other guys. Matt Olson all of a sudden is starting to hit some home runs for them after having a down season most of the year. So I agree with you. That depth in the National League wild card, all of a sudden, instead of looking, at 3 teams deep, it might be 5 teams deep going for those 3 spots.
One thing, too, Mike, that the Phillies, look, the Phillies have dealt with adversity. They had Trey Turner out 6 weeks. They lost Bryce Harper. They lost Kyle Schwarber and still kind of persevered through that. But now Ranger Suarez, he's down. The second spot, the 2 spots in the rotation are down. It'll be interesting to see if they can navigate their way through with 2 key spots in the rotation down. And then, Mike, I'm really interested to see what they do with this new look bullpen.
Yeah, I mean, so far the move they made in the bullpen, Estevez has looked great now. It didn't get a lot of attention because he came in games they lost to the Yankees, but he looked absolutely dynamite in his 2 outings. Throwing strikes, pounding the strike zone, which is something the other relievers have for some reason forgotten to do. I mean, Matt Strahm walks Soto and Judge and then gives up the home run to Chisholm. Alvarado, when he's got in trouble, it's because he's walked batters and not throwing strikes. Estevez looks like a great pickup. He's really pounding the strike zone. And you talk about the Phillies starting pitchers. I'm really interested in Sunday's game. I want to see how Zach Wheeler is going to bounce back Sunday. Disappointing outing in his last start against the New York Yankees. I want to see how he comes back on Sunday. And then I'm looking for when Ranger Suarez comes back because they still think that injury to his back is minor. They still think he has a chance to pitch on this road trip against the Diamondbacks. So I want to see Ranger come back, too. And I'm interested tonight, Mike, Tyler Phillips coming off a complete game shutout. What's that like? We've seen pitchers before. I'm thinking of Christopher Sanchez earlier this season. Throw that complete game shutout and then come back and struggle in their next start. Tyler Phillips, big start tonight, starting off a 10-game road trip. What does he have left after throwing a complete game shutout last Saturday?
Mike, yeah, that's funny you say that because it seems like every time someone throws a complete game shutout and throws a bunch of pitches, the whole argument of, see, that's why they don't let him do it because the next game, the bounce-back game, always seems to be troublesome. You throw a no-hitter one day, Michael Lorenzen, and then he never was the same after that. We saw Christopher Sanchez throw a complete game shutout a couple weeks ago. Did not have a great outing this next bounce-back, so we'll see Tyler Phillips after that one there. And, obviously, as you write over at PressOfAtlanticCity.com, not time to hit the panic button yet, but one of the reasons why the Phillies got out to such a big lead in the division is because of so many guys that you didn't anticipate having inordinately good years to start the season. Sanchez, Suarez, Strahm, Hoffman, and to ask those guys to do that again in the second half, that's a lot to ask. So it was bound to come back to the pack, but the way they're coming back to the pack, I think, is the surprise. It's because of the stars not doing their job.
Yeah, I mean, we were going to get a little stock market correction there. Matt Strahm was not going to go the whole season without giving up any runs. But conversely, to why I'm not going to panic yet is because I know just like Matt Strahm wasn't going to be perfect for an entire season, I know that Trey Turner is going to hit again, basically, and be the guy he was maybe in late June, early July, not the guy he's been since the post-All-Star break. I know Bryce Harper is going to hit again. I know he's not going to go 1 for 30, stay in this slump. So, yeah, we're going to get that market correction back the other way. It just better happen on this road trip, basically, because I think if that lead in the division gets down to 4-3 games, people are going to get a little jittery around here.
Yeah. Mike McGarry from the Press of Atlantic City, pressofac.com, and, of course, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays here on the Sports Bash. Man, are you counting down the days to high school football kickoff?
Hey, what's this? Today's August 2nd and August 29th, so nobody told me there'd be math, but what's that, about 3 weeks away to the Battle at the Beach, Atlantic City, mainland, 12 o'clock, 12:45, I think, at Ocean City, first game of the year. Millville, Holy Spirit, that Friday night. and a bunch of games on Saturday over at Egg Harbor Township. We're starting to put some team previews up at PressOfAC.com. I can remember, Mike, back when you were in school, back when you were patrolling the linebacker position for the Mustangs, football didn't start till like September 15th, 20th. Now it starts about 3 weeks before the NFL season here. So, yeah, I'm pumped up and excited to see, the local high school football get started August 29th, less than, about 3 weeks from today, or 3 weeks from yesterday, basically.
I've been seeing the previews and started to think about all the heat and playing in these inordinately hot high school football conditions here. Mike, also, yesterday, Chris Carlin before me talking about Mike Trout, that he's no longer a shoo-in for the Hall of Fame. Man, we felt like there was no way. 3-time MVP, he's going to hit over 400 home runs. But do you say these injuries might keep him out of Cooperstown?
No way. I think what has happened to Mike Trout is really, a baseball version of, a baseball version of a tragedy, right? He just cannot stay on the field with these injuries. It's really just a shame. But if Mike Trout never plays another baseball game again, which, let me state for the record, I don't think is the case. He's 32, 33 years old. He's going to comes back from this knee injury. He's got 3-4 years at least left in his career. So let me emphasize that. But if he never plays another baseball game again, Mike Trout is without a question a first ballot Hall of Fame player. 3 MVPs, Rookie of the Year award. The numbers he's put up, there's no doubt he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. The only thing that we're going to have to deal with when it comes to Trout is, are we going to be left wondering what might have been if it wasn't for these injuries? And that's something sad to think about. But if he never plays another baseball game again, there's no doubt in my mind, first ballot Hall of Fame.
All right, Mike McGarry from the Press of Atlantic City. Make sure you check out his coverage of the Phillies and all things sports locally here in our area. The high school football season getting ready to begin, and listen to him here on the Sports Bash. All right, Michael, enjoy the weekend, pal.
All right, enjoy the wings, and we'll see you down the road. Thanks.